Excuse me. Hi, my name's Lance Zink. I'm a graduate of Cuyahoga Heights. I live in Valley View. I have one daughter that graduated from Cuyahoga Heights. I have two that go there, and my son will go there in a few years, hopefully. Just so you know, this is the third board meeting in the last 8 days. The special meeting last Tuesday is when the board voted 3-2 in favor of placing Superintendent Tom Evans on paid administrative leave. At that meeting, they had a 4-hour executive session with 2 attorneys present at $275 an hour. That's a total of $2,200 just for attorneys. Special meeting this Monday, 3-hour executive session, 1 attorney present for an hour, $275. At each meeting, including this one, it costs us $650 a meeting to pay for these guys.
That's crazy.
So, in the last 8 days, $3,800 at least for these people to sit up here to meet with their attorneys. Holly Thacker has a track record of targeting individuals who stand up to her. She's organized witch hunts that have cost our district thousands of dollars.
I'm standing.
First, Thacker investigated longtime resident, parent, football and basketball coach Tony Ranella in 2015. Thacker and Odin commissioned a secretive investigation that cost taxpayers over $33,000. That investigation was never discussed publicly, and it was never voted on publicly. The board decided to hire Fraud Solutions privately during executive session and out of the view of the public. The board used public funds in excess of $33,000 to generate a report that has led to 0 charges. What was the return on investment for our kids of that $33,000?
Being rude.
How did that help our students? Next, Thacker and Odin forced the resignation of Treasurer Joy Clickinger. Joy had over 30 years of experience when she came to Cuyahoga Heights. If you saw, Robert Riggs wrote an article on Cleveland.com that states that Cuyahoga Heights is attempting to recover roughly $6,300 from Joy Clickinger. How much more money will the district spend in legal fees trying to recoup $6,300? Especially when there's a legitimate case to argue that Joy was approved by the board to work a flexible schedule. I shared with many of you last night, and if I don't have your email addresses, please make sure I get them before we leave tonight. I've got 3 documents. The first one, an email from Dr. Stephen Kenzig stating that him and board president Roylene Sample discussed a flex schedule with Joy Clickinger before she was hired. Second, I have an offer sheet showing that Joy needed flex days as a condition of her employment. Third, affidavit from Reno Conapelli, former board member, attesting to the fact that all 5 board members at the time were aware of a verbal agreement between Joy to work flex days. After Joy resigned and moved on to Elyria Schools, this board hired her replacement at an increase of $13,000 annually to taxpayers.
Wow.
Her replacement is not a licensed school treasurer.
Oh my God.
He was not licensed at the time that he was hired, and as of today, he is still not a licensed treasurer.
Explain that. Explain, Thacker.
By the way, after the board accepted Joy's resignation, 2 board members followed Joy up to her office where they made her count petty cash from the cash drawer in front of them and then had her escorted to her vehicle. They treated her like a criminal rather than somebody who had 30 years of experience. After Joy, Holly targeted whistleblower Kathy Martin. Kathy was an employee in the treasurer's office for several years, and she submitted whistleblower allegations against Holly Thacker, Tim Odin, and Allen Legal, the board's general counsel. Earlier this year, Thacker and Odin both voted to non-renew Kathy Martin's contract, even after she requested whistleblower protection. This was after Kathy Martin was praised at a public board meeting for saving the district over $100,000 on their phone bill. Dr. Thacker was actually the person that praised her at that board meeting. Thacker and Odin voted to replace her with a new employee doing the same job as Kathy. Guess what? They want to tell you how fiscally responsible they were? Guess how much this new employee makes?
How much?
$28,000 more than Kathy Martin made. Finally, that's not it. After Kathy, Tom Evans, graduate of Cauga Heights, former principal of Cauga Heights. He's told how many people in this district that this is his dream job. Odin and Thacker have turned it into a nightmare. Board members have threatened his job. When he wanted to put Tony up for renewal, they said, if you put him up, we will get rid of you. You might as well start looking for a new job. On Monday night, the board informed the community that they will be investigating Superintendent Evans and that they expect the investigation to take 4 weeks. School starts in 2 weeks. Tonight's board meeting was officially scheduled for the Cauga Heights Media Center. The Cauga Heights Fire Department decided, based on your support, that it should be moved to our auditorium. Our auditorium holds 450 people. On Monday afternoon, Thacker moved the meeting to this building. This room holds 193 people. It's an attempt to limit the number of citizens that would attend. Why are we bringing our problems from our district to Independence? But this isn't new for Holly. She tried this tactic before. The June 29th meeting. We had that meeting at 7 a.m. in the morning on a Wednesday. Also, this isn't the first time. Regularly scheduled board meeting, board policy says we are supposed to have public comments. You know what you're not going to find on your agenda? Public comments. She did this multiple times during the spring at multiple meetings. Let's not forget about Tim Oden. When asked on January 20th about why he had used his private email to conduct board business, which is a violation of Ohio Revised Code, Sunshine Law, and board policy, Oden stated, quote, if I've gotten something sent to my personal email address, I believe that that would have been something that I would have said, you need to send it to my school address. You know, I don't give that out. Honestly, I said if you know that it was sent to me, it needs to come to my school email account. Fortunately, Lindy Schukert called him on that. Said that, no, Tim, that's not what you said. Tim's response, quote, well, I don't know what else to tell you on that, end quote. Then, April 20th board meeting. Oden's story changes. He now admits to using his private email for board business, which, like I said, clear violation of board policy. At that April meeting, Oden states, quote, Jack Petronelli from Allen Legal had his administrative assistant send me an email, one invoice to my private email account, end quote. Then, in complete contrast to his original statements from January, Oden stated that his response to the attorney was, quote, thanks, Jack. I apologize for not seeing this on my other account. I will authorize payment to Joy, end quote. It is clear from this response that he never instructed the attorney to not use his private email account. In reference to how the attorney obtained his private email address, in January, Oden stated, quote, you know, I don't give that out. I don't know if it was sent to me that it needs to come to my school email address account. Then in April, quote, they may have got it from me in July when I met with the attorneys because we were looking around for new attorneys in July. And to be honest with you, I don't know my Cauga Heights email off the top of my head.
Okay.
End quote. I know his email account. Again, within 3 months, Tim Oden's story has changed. Oden clearly admits to the fact that he provided potential attorneys his private email address while conducting board business of searching for a new law firm. Oden has tried to argue that Allen Legal should be paid for services performed by another law firm, Gary C. Johnson, even though Allen Legal and Gary C. Johnson are two completely different law firms. Just because Jack Petronelli worked for Gary C. Johnson and Gary C. Johnson passed away doesn't mean that Petronelli's new law firm has any rights to the revenues from Jack Petronelli at the time he worked for Gary C. Johnson. If I work for Ford, and I do work for Ford, and then I go work for Chevy, you don't pay Chevy for what I did for Ford. That doesn't make sense. Those revenues belong to Gary C. Johnson. Petronelli and Allen Legal tried to defraud the school's treasurer by creating edited versions of legal bills in an attempt to collect payments for services rendered by Gary C. Johnson's law firm. Oden assisted in the ploy by withholding the original invoice from the treasurer while at the same time instructing her to pay the invoice. Furthermore, he allowed Allen Legal to contact him and provide him with legal invoices on his private email address. Again, October 20th, Odin states, quote, Jack Petronelli is recreating this invoice from his notes. This is invoice number 2. So he sends this on Eric Allen letterhead, wanting to get paid to Eric Allen. But once again, Gary C. Johnson is now defunct. Well, rightfully so. What ends up happening is Eric Allen, he takes this invoice that was created by Jack Petronelli and he does a cut and paste. And he takes this and cuts and pastes it on the old Gary C. Johnson letterhead that he digs up so that this itemized form matches the summary sheet. End quote. Remember, these are direct quotes from the mouth of Tim Odin. And they show that he was aware of what the attorney was trying to do, and instead of trying to stop him from defrauding the school and the treasurer, he went along with it. He agrees with it. Odin is a certified public accountant. If anybody should know better, it's him. He knows that not only are these actions questionable, they're illegal. Rather than investigating Tom Evans, what this board should be investigating are the claims made by the whistleblower. Why hasn't Tim Odin had to answer for why he instructed the treasurer to pay legal bills without sufficient backup? Remember, this is how Joe Palazzo embezzled $3.4 million from the school district. Internal controls have been put in place to avoid a situation where an individual can authorize payment to a vendor without providing the necessary documentation and proof to the treasurer. Yet, Odin told the treasurer to pay legal bills without even providing her with the bill itself. How was she supposed to confirm that the payments were accurate? Why hasn't Tim Odin had to answer for why he used his private email to conduct board business? Why hasn't he had to answer why he hid legal bills from the school treasurer?
Investigate him.
Unfortunately, this isn't the only time that one of our current board members has allowed an official document to be altered or manipulated. ORC Code 3313.61 states, quote, each diploma awarded under this section shall be signed by the president and treasurer of the issuing board, the superintendent of schools, and the principal of the high school, end quote. This spring, board president Holly Thacker demanded to be the last person to sign each student's diploma after the superintendent, treasurer, and principal. I believe she did this so she could be the last authority figure to have access to the diplomas before they were granted for the commencement ceremony. Not only did Holly Thacker allow a member of the community to sign a student's diploma in the space designated for the school board president, she blatantly and publicly lied about her involvement at a recent board meeting. Here's a transcript from that board meeting. Lindy Schukert, quote, I want this diploma question answered. You, Thacker, you allowed a parent to sign under board president, end quote. Thacker, point of order, stop it with your false comments. Schukert, that's not false, I actually have proof. I have a photo of it, so I would like to know. She gets cut off. Thacker, I signed every diploma, yes I did. Schukert, that is a lie. So now we're allowed to lie? Thacker, move on. Schukert, no, I'm not going to move on. I want to know why you think it is okay for a community member, to sign their child's diploma. And if you guys just sit here and allow her to conduct herself this way, you are just as guilty. This is not okay. Diplomas are a reflection of our school district and our Board of Education. We are a part of that leadership team. So if we are allowing our board president to just do whatever she wants freely, it is as much our fault as it is everyone else's. Thacker, any other further additional comments? Schukert, so again, you're not going to answer me on why you did that. Why you allowed a parent to sign their daughter's diploma where it said board president. And you're going to deny it even though we have photos of it? Thacker, here comes the lie, folks. Yep, I signed and initialed all official documents and the official diploma, and graduation is the transcript and the approval by the entire board. So you continue with all of your false accusations. End quote. I have copies of that diploma if anybody would like to see the signature on it. Again, this is yet another example of a blatant abuse of power by Holly Thacker. It's a violation of ORC, and just as importantly, it illustrates that Dr. Thacker believes that she's above the law and the rules don't apply to her. She's very comfortable lying to all of you. Having a lapse in judgment and allowing someone who is unauthorized to sign an official document is bad enough. But the fact that Thacker lied about the situation when confronted only raises more questions about her ethics. If she feels comfortable enough lying about her involvement in this situation in front of the community, the superintendent, her fellow board members, and a cameraman from a local media outlet, then what else has she been dishonest about? How many other times has she bent the truth? How can we trust her moving forward? Looked at as individual situations, the actions of Thacker and Oden over last year are concerning. Given. Commissioned an expensive, secretive investigation in an attempt to smear the reputation of a well-known citizen, parent, and coach. Hired a PR firm at a cost of $2,000 a month to you to send out board propaganda, with ever discussing that hiring publicly. Threatening the superintendent's job if he decided to recommend hiring someone that certain board members did not like. Altering and hiding legal bills from the school's treasurer while demanding that the treasurer release payment to the wrong legal firm. Allowing an official document to be signed by an unauthorized citizen and then lying about it at a public board meeting. Non-renewing a whistleblower and opening up the district to a potential legal suit. Suspending district superintendent 2 weeks before a new school year without providing the public with any sort of explanation. Moving board meetings to limit how many people will attend or fit into the board meeting. Disallowing public comment at board meetings even though board policy states that they should be allowed in an attempt to silence you. When viewed together, these actions read like a laundry list that illustrate the cold hard truth that Holly Thacker and Tim Oden are not fit for public office. Their actions reek of having a vindictive and evil motive. Not once have either of them placed the well-being of our children or the school district above their own self-serving purposes and agendas. This begs the question, what can we as a community do to stop the damage being inflicted by Holly Thacker and Tim Oden? A document has been created.
Sorry, Lance.
Run with it, Lindy. Wow.
Take it for the students.
Wow.
Here for the students.
We won.
Okay.
Mr. Evan.
I'm almost done, I promise. A document has been created that outlines the actions of these two board members that are in direct violation of Ohio Revised Code, Sunshine Law, and board policy. I have met recently with a few attorneys, and I hope that as early as next week, we will be ready to move forward with finalizing this document so that we can move and proceed with legal action to forcefully remove Holly Thacker and Tim Oden from office. If you would like further details on that process, please contact me directly. In order for that process to take place, we will need to raise sufficient funds to cover legal fees. Once we have a better understanding of those associated costs, we will be setting up a GoFundMe campaign to collect funds. Remember, 5% of all donations through GoFundMe stay with the website. So that being said, we will also set up a direct way to collect money from people that are interested in doing it that way. I will get you those details. If you've been receiving my emails over the past few months, thank you, and thank you for showing up tonight. If you haven't, you can contact me. My number is 216-854-0218. I will be here until we leave, and my email address is lzink07@jcu.edu. Thank you for your continued support and your attendance here tonight. There's definitely strength in numbers. We must stick together as a community to save our school district. Demand the reinstatement of Superintendent Tom Evans. And as importantly, before any more damage is done, demand the resignations of Holly Thacker and Tim Oden immediately. Thank you.